I'm Larry Kudlow. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Tennessee Congresswoman Diane Black. She's now the interim House Budget Committee chair, and she was very active in the Republican retreat, House Senate Republican retreat in Philadelphia. Talked a little bit about to the media about the legislative strategy for the GOP. First of all, Congresswoman, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Haven't talked in a while. I hope you get it. Do you want to be chair of the committee?
Well, I'm going to do my job as the interim, and then I'll let the steering committee decide whether I should continue as a full chair or not. But right. I'm very much enjoying where I am right now today.
Good. Oh, I'll vote for you. Promise. Absolutely promise. Now, let me ask a couple things. First of all, there's stories in the paper today, naturally, that Republicans are worried and grousing about changing, reforming, and rewriting Obamacare, and they're not as united as folks think. On the other hand, you sounded more confident about getting that done in the Philadelphia retreat. Where's the party, in your judgment, where does the party stand on the issue of repealing and rewriting Obamacare?
Well, you know, Larry, that this is always the way. You have a few folks out there who do have concerns, but they become the loudest, and the media picks them up more than talking to people who are the majority that want to see this repealed and see us put something in that is much more patient-centered and is actually going to bring some of those costs down. So we're moving along. We got a really good vote on the budget reconciliation, the budget resolution. We only lost 9 members on that, and there were concerns that this budget was not doing what our normal budgets do, but we were able to get through. We're talking about this is a vehicle. This is a tool to get us where we want to be. So I feel very confident that we're continuing to move forward, and the American people will see some relief by our actions.
Congresswoman Diane Black, talk to me about the budget res, which I guess will have reconciliation instructions leading to you only need 51 votes in the Senate. Things like, will you get rid of the individual and employee mandates? Let's start there. That's a hot topic and one of the things that I think tripped up the entire Obamacare. The mandates, is that going to be in this legislation?
Well, I think what you will see, Larry, is if you go back and look at our 2015 budget resolution that we did on the reconciliation, you will see the language in there being very similar. There will probably be some additions to that as much as we can get in, and we won't get into the complicated procedure of the Byrd rule, but we're going to do as much as we can. And we did have both the repeal of the employer and the individual mandate in there. It drives costs up. It does nothing to help people with gaining health care or better health care. So that was in the original bill. I expect that will be part of what will come out from our committees after they get their instructions.
Other things you hear folks talking about or worrying about, will they 20 million people lose their insurance? Medicaid is going to be cut back. Pre-existing conditions might be cut back. What's your response to those worries?
Well, I tell people just to hang on. Don't get out there and imagine things that aren't so, because what we really want to do is to make sure that we reform this whole process. And this insurance industry has been hit really hard as a result of, well, I shouldn't say the insurance industry. I should say people getting insurance. And if we look at the whole reason for this Obamacare to begin with, supposedly was to help those folks who did not have insurance. And really, when we look at it, it's only about 40% of what has actually been done in the Obamacare Affordable Care Act, a total of 4% that really were uninsured that this has helped. And contrary to what a lot of folks say, it has not helped anybody that's in the employer-sponsored insurance world, because we've seen costs go up. Premiums are just soaring, and deductibles that are so high that people can't even afford to use the card. They may have a card, but they don't have care. Their choices are down. And we see consumers that are just totally rejecting the law. I could talk about my own state of Tennessee for probably the rest of the show, and show how it has hurt people that are in the employer or the individual insurance market, and it has not helped. So we have to do something to help people to be able to get to the point where they can get some patient-centered care that is what they want at a cost they can afford.
We're talking with Congresswoman Diane Black of Tennessee, interim House Budget Committee chair, just come off the Republican retreat in Philadelphia, and looks like the GOP is going to go whole hog and try to repeal Obamacare. Congresswoman, tell me about the replacement part of this. That's I always felt it was doable. I felt a lot of work has been done. There are a number of plans out there, not least of which from former Budget Chair Tom Price, who's now the Secretary of HHS. Why is it so hard? I mean, over a period of years, why can't we replace Obamacare?
Well, we can, and we can get back to something that is more affordable and what people want. And there are plans out there, as you have said, Larry. I recall being in front of the Rules Committee and the Democrats saying to me, well, you still don't have a plan. And my staff was wise enough to print off all the plans for me, and they reached stacked up about 10 inches tall. And they say, if you want to get an idea of the plans, look at what Paul Ryan wrote. Even during that time when the Affordable Care Act was being talked about and put in place, Paul Ryan had a plan. As you have indicated, Dr. Price had a plan. We have the RSC under Dr. Rowe, who is a colleague of mine, myself being a nurse, himself being a doctor. A very good plan. We see Pete Sessions, who has a different kind of an idea, and then the Better Way. So there are lots of ideas out there. What we can do in the reconciliation is going to be a little more limited. So we're saying repeal plus on that, because we're going to try to get as much of the reform as we can in there, given the fact that we're under constraint with the Byrd rule. We'll do as much as we can, and then mentioning Dr. Price. He'll have a lot of latitude with all of those mandates. As being the Secretary of HHS, we're hoping he'll get confirmed here real soon so he can get over there and help us out on that part. So it's not a one-size-fits-all as the Obamacare has tried to make it. We need to look at what fits people's needs, what best fits their needs, and that's what we need to put in place.
Are these decisions, you're going to have to put it into a budget res with reconciliation instructions as the temporary chair of the Budget Committee? Is that all going to run through you, Diane?
Well, the budget resolution, of course, ran through us, and then it has instructions in there that will be given to those committees of jurisdiction, Ways and Means and Energy and Commerce on our side. Over on their side will be the Health Committee and the Finance Committee. The instructions will be that each one of those has to produce at least $1 billion worth of savings. If you look back in that resolution that was done back in 2015, it actually produced over $300 billion worth of savings. But it's just a minimum. We give them a minimum of $1 billion. So $1 billion in those energy and commerce, and $1 billion in on each side, I should say, with those committees.
Ms. Black, let me take a quick break. You stay with us. Come back on the other side. We've got a couple more things. We're talking to Tennessee Congresswoman Diane Black, temporary chair of the Budget Committee. We're talking about repealing and rewriting Obamacare. I'm Kudlow. Stay with us. We're coming right back after this brief break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Larry Kudlow. We're talking with Tennessee Congresswoman Diane Black, interim House Budget Committee chair, fresh off the Republican retreat in Philadelphia with some discussions about legislative strategy. Republican Party is going to go, as I understand it, full hog to repeal Obamacare and come up with an alternative in the next budget. Congressman Black, let me just switch gears a wee bit on this discussion. Where can I get my business tax cuts? Where can I get those in the first half of the year? Because I worry if we wait on the business, I'm just talking business now, not the personals, but the business side, repatriation, lower rates, expensing, as you know well. Can I get that in the first half of the year? Otherwise, I'm afraid the economy is going to be damaged. People will postpone activity, and the story's not going to have a great ending, at least for year one.
Well, this is switching gears a little bit, but our Ways and Means Committee is just, we're going to do tax reform this year. We have been working on this. I got in Congress in 2010. I was elected in 2010, started serving in 2011, and we've been talking about this now for the last 6 years, and we're ready to do something about it. And so we do have a very bold plan that we've put out there, and we're looking forward to moving this along. And it's a heavy lift, but it's one that we believe needs to be done, and we're putting it out there for the American people to see that we want to get this economy moving.
Yeah, I didn't mean to switch gears to throw a curveball, but you know all about this stuff. Let's just ask you, Ms. Black, it's a matter of timing to some extent, and of course it's a matter of process also. If you're running a budget res through reconciliation instructions, can you at the same time using what I'll call regular order. Please, ma'am, correct me if my terms are wrong, but regular order. Can you at the same time, process a business tax reform bill in both the House and Senate? And I'm not thinking reconciliation. I've talked to Chairman Kevin Brady about this from time to time. Maybe if you include infrastructure spending along with the repatriation and the rate reduction and the expensing, maybe you could attract a half dozen Democrats to that.
Well, our plan would be, first of all, the reconciliation would not be done on this current 2017 budget resolution, so we will have to pass another budget resolution, and then it would be added to the 2018 budget resolution for total tax reform. And the reason why we have wanted to do it in this manner is that, first of all, we want to get it done this year. And we know in the Senate, with their filibuster, that there may not be an opportunity, and probably wouldn't be an opportunity, to attract 8 Democrats over to our side to be able to do it. We'd like to do a total reform of both the individual and the business side, because we don't really feel that it's fair to just do business and not give individuals, and especially when you have small businesses that file under the individual side. So a comprehensive tax reform that hasn't been done since 1986 is woefully needed. The tax code is 10 times the size of the Bible with no good news, as the former Chairman Camp used to say. So we really feel like we want to give people some good news. We want to give individuals an opportunity to be able to file their taxes very simply. At least about 90% of them will be able to do that on the front and the back of a single postcard. That's joyous, as I talk about that in my town hall meeting. People are so adverse to the IRS and the kinds of just when they fill out their form and think they've done it correctly and waiting for the IRS to come back and say, oh, no, you're a bad guy, and the kinds of things they have to do with hiring special folks to help them through the process and the cost of that. So we believe that this will really energize our country if we are able to reform both the corporate and the individual side. And with, an estimated growth of only 1.9% economic growth by the CBO for this upcoming year. I just read their report, at least the cliff notes on that. And we can't grow our economy at 1.9%. It's got to be at least 3%. So tax reform will help us get to where we want to grow this economy and get people back to work, get this country #1 around the world again.
Congresswoman Diane Black from Tennessee, one last question. I think I have about a minute, ma'am. The Trump transition is talking about a $10.5 trillion budget cut over 10 years. In less than a minute, what's your take on that? $10.5 trillion over 10.
Well, I'd love to do it. I'm looking forward to working with Mick Mulvaney, my colleague over there in the administration. I think he's going to get confirmed here real soon, and I expect that he will do a really good job. And look, we'll work on these numbers and work together because they are for the good of our country, and I'm ready to do it.
Well, great. Good luck. Really enjoyed. Thank you for coming back on the show. Congressman Diane Black, Republican, Tennessee, now pitching in as the interim House Budget Committee Chair, old friend of the show. Thank you, ma'am. Best of luck in the new year. Hope you get it all done.
Thank you.